Tutu.
Hi.
Wonderful to have you.
Thank you.
And you're here today in Ealing Hospital to celebrate Black History Month. What does Black History Month mean to you?
Well, I live now in South Africa, and so we are in the midst of a black majority.
Well, your father, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, has coined this term Ubuntu about the connectedness of all of us. And here you are in the UK. How does your work connect with people here in the UK, perhaps globally?
He hasn't coined the term, he's probably popularized it. He's used it, it has come into the mainstream consciousness in a way because it's something that he speaks of a lot. It is an African worldview that recognizes our interdependence. And it is, we have exported that worldview, and it is a worldview that actually holds true for all of us. There is a need for all of us to recognize our interconnectedness, our interdependence, and to see it expressed here in the ways in which it is expressed through the work of the Tutu Foundation in the UK, but that that recognition of our interdependence really does change the ethic of how we operate in all of our circumstances. And so when you start thinking about the importance of good service delivery, the importance of high standards and a high quality of customer service, the importance of a workplace in which people feel truly welcome and truly secure in their ability to deliver the best of themselves, that worldview of Ubuntu, that worldview of our interconnectedness, then says to people who work and who are on the delivery end of things, who are on the supply side of that service delivery equation, that how I deliver the service matters as much as the fact that I deliver the service. And it does call us to provide the highest standards of service delivery, because we can see ourselves in the person who's sitting opposite to us.
And I know you've done quite a lot of work around violence against women, HIV. So in your personal capacity with those interests, are there any particular things that you would like to see happen here in the UK?
I think one of the recognitions that we have, and that's a growing recognition in South Africa, is that a lot of the approach to domestic violence has been to criminalize it, which absolutely is true and right and correct. Violence is a criminal activity, but that very often the approach has been to say that in order to create safety for the victims of domestic violence, that the victim has to move out of their home.
Yes.
And be in in another environment that's safe, and that in fact what we really ought to be aiming for is that the victim isn't violated yet again by having to give up their home and their community in order to stay alive and to be safe, but rather to create their home as a place of safety. And so to ask the different question, what is the approach that we should be having with perpetrators in order for people to be safe in their homes? And is there any possibility of creating a new relationship between perpetrator and victim, in that is a relationship in which both people are valued, the perpetrator is held accountable for what they have done, and that the victim or survivor of domestic violence is held in high value and high regard. And so we are working towards finding solutions to domestic violence that address all of that.
And your father has just been awarded the Mpho Ibrahim Prize for Leadership in Africa. You know, so congratulations to him. I think all of us would like to celebrate with him.
Yes.
The interesting thing is that award hasn't been given to any African leader in government for the last 2 years because Mpho Ibrahim's foundation didn't find anybody who demonstrated the leadership qualities. What are the leadership qualities that you particularly admire in him?
I want to circle a half step back before I, respond to that question. But to note that the bar is quite high for that Mpho Ibrahim Prize for a leader in government. One has to have exercised good governance and then to have stepped down voluntarily. And I think, sort of looking across the world, it's not only in Africa that they have obviously had a challenge, in making that award in Africa, but quite honestly, they would have had a challenge in making that award in other parts of the world. I mean, if you start thinking about, the last president of the United States who stepped down, would that person qualify for the Mpho Ibrahim Award? And so I think, maybe it's not as much of a smear on African leadership as it seems at first blush, but rather to say that we ought to recognize that there is in Africa. It's amazing that that award has been able to be made at all, because it really is a very high standard that they set for the award. And then to go on and answer your question, which was on the qualities of leadership that I value in my father, I think probably some of the ones that are easily recognizable of his integrity and his consistency. So with the attributes that he praises in one person, he doesn't then turn around and say, well, because I don't particularly like other things that so-and-so does, I'm not going to recognize the good that they're able to do. And so I think his ability to recognize the good that people do regardless of who it is, his ability to state that, to say that and admire, to state what it is that he admires. I think the ability to celebrate other people's success. To see him genuinely enjoy the good that other people do, the good that other people achieve, is actually a larger gift than it seems at first blush. To be able to genuinely say, bravo, I'm so glad that you can do this thing that you can do so wonderfully well. And to glory in other people's ability and success. So I think that too is a quality of leadership. And then ultimately that he values people, and that the experience that people have in their encounters with him is the experience of being valued. And I think that trumps all other qualities of leadership.
I think we'll agree with you with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Will we be seeing more of you in the UK?
Yes, God willing.
God willing.
Yes, you'll be seeing more of me in the UK, and I'll be back for some visits and for our work with the Tutu Foundation here in the UK.
Well,
absolutely.
we look forward to that, and thank you so much for giving us this time.
Yes, and thank you for having me, and God bless you.